All right, we should have some audio going right now. People should be showing up here shortly. Like a hot spot on it. There we go. Get rid of that bright thing right there. All right. Testing 1, 2.
Testing 1, 2.
All right. If anybody, hi Ray, it's working. Thank you. Sounds good. Thanks, Eric. I appreciate that. All right. All right. We were hoping that you would hear us. You never know, right? All right. We're going to try to look at the camera, Joan, so when people show up. Okay. We're going to give everybody just a few minutes to show up. It's just now turned 6 o'clock. Hey, Tracy, good to see you. Jerry and Joan here today. So we're in the home office, getting ready to head out on the road. So we'll give just a few more folks time to join us. Hello from Seattle, Scotty. Good to see you. We're good to know that you're there. Thanks, Norm. Glad to know y'all are there. All right, we'll give it just a few more minutes. Well, while everybody, first of all, happy spring, everybody. We're coming up at the end of April, and we just kind of, while we're waiting for people to show up, we haven't been traveling much for good reason. We've been getting a lot of grandbaby time in, haven't we, Joan?
We sure have.
It is sports time in the Neal and the grandbaby household. So we've had high school baseball. We've had soccer. We had soccer for a little while until the middle grandbaby tore her ACL. She's doing good. And then the youngest, who will be turning 7 Monday, she'll be turning 7 Monday. She started T-ball. So, we couldn't travel with all that going on. So it's been kind of interesting. I see a lot of people have started with questions. If you'll just give us just a little bit, we'll share a few things. We'll kind of just stop all the chatter in here in just a little bit, and we'll go to Q&A, because all these questions are going to kind of slide off the channel. But I'll be glad to answer everything we can. I'll try to go back and pick up some of these that folks have already asking. So, and Scotty, you did some T-ball game today too. Yeah, it's so much fun. It's just a free for all. It's really, really great. And then Joan and I, let's see if I can pull this off. Joan and I did a delicacy that we don't get to do that often. And I'm going to pull it up here. So if anybody's traveling through Middle Georgia, I'm going to share something with you here. So give me a second while I'm still waiting for folks to show up. Let's see. There you go. I'll pop that up right there. You see that right there? This is called New Way. We do this once a year, whether we need it or not.
At least once a year.
At least once a year. These are the greatest hot dogs in the world. There may even be a biblical reference to them. This is either what we read about manna in heaven. I know I'm just joking. Or these are the hot dogs that may be served in heaven. If they are incredible. It's the best chili dog in the world. I know there's always a lot of discussion about where's the best chili dog. If you're traveling, say, north to south or south to north, and you're going down I-75, you're going to be traveling through the Middle Georgia area. And when you get south of Forsyth, there's 475. And if you want the best hot dog in the world, pull off on Zebulon Road. All right, start writing your notes down. Zebulon Road, and you can turn right off. There's a big movie theater, and you can park your RV. I don't care what size you got, big, small, super, it doesn't matter. There's plenty of parking there. And then right in front of the theater, there is New Way Hot Dog. And I think, I'm looking here at the picture, they're over 100 years old. And they are amazing.
Yes, they are. You can get chili dogs and slaw dogs,
onion rings
and French fries,
and Joan tolerated me while we were eating those. Oh my gosh, they're incredible. So we had a lot of fun doing that. and it was it was a great time. So if you're traveling through Middle Georgia, you got to stop at New Way. You got to stop at New Way, and then there's I think you may have just seen my latest video, Lake Tobosofke. We're going. That's your next exit down Lake Tobo, the recreation area, and then spend a couple days here. It's just so much fun. So it looks like we got a lot of folks showing up, and I'm seeing a lot of comments come on. This is going to be a different time for us. Normally we do this. I think the last time I looked that we did a live, we did in April. So
of last year.
Yeah, we did that April of last year. And so it's been a year. It's been a year since we've done one of these, and I can't say why. We always enjoy doing a live video. And I thought it would be a good time for those who have bought new RVs or planning the new RVs. What has our experience been? I will share this, that I'm sorry, I'm just looking at comments. I'm gonna come back to that. Traveling buying a fifth wheel has been an interesting experience. The first experience, we had a Gateway by Heartland, and we had a lot of issues right up front with it.
As you do with a lot of new things.
Well, the sink fell out. On the first trip, the sink fell out, and the shower flooded. You remember that? The shower flooded. First night out. And we had all these little things. When we bought this one, it was a lot different. They assign a tech to you. We bought it from Lazy Days. I don't think I've ever shared that. I bought it from Lazy Days down in Tampa. And it was a good experience where they assign a tech to you. You spend the night in it. They come in the next day after you played with it, and they fix all the little small things that went south on us. And we just had 2 or 3 little things. It was just a little, the door didn't lock properly. Just, a piece of molding was loose, et cetera, et cetera. A couple of finishing nails were in great shape. So, and then off we took off, and that was just a little over a year ago. I'm going to answer a couple of questions here. Bear with me while I do this. Teresa, are we planning to come to North Alabama anytime soon? I hope so. There's a new campground up in Gunnersville that I'd like to try. And we might try to do that here. I don't know if we're going to make it this year. This year's pretty full. I'll be talking about travel plans in a little bit. So let's go Mets. You watched the game last night, I'm sure, Eric. But I hope we can do that. But we took ownership of this. We were home with it maybe a week or two, and then we decided to go for broke, and we went up to the Virginia-Tennessee line. And if you remember that video, it snowed on us the whole time we were up there. We really wanted to put it in a cold environment and see how it worked. Worked great.
It did.
It's cold. It was cold outside.
But we stayed nice and warm inside.
It was fine. We didn't have to do the only supplemental heat we did, just to kind of keep the noise down in the, with the furnace that's in there. We did have a little space heater that we use a little bit during the day, but other than that, it wasn't bad. And those furnaces blow through propane like crazy. So, but it was a good experience. So that was the first trip. We have been to Daytona Beach area. You've been seeing some videos there. You'll probably continue to see videos from the area ongoing. Our son has moved down there. You see Joel when I do hiking and things like that. And we do some of the vineyards up in North Georgia. You've probably seen our oldest, Joel. So we try to go down there and see him a couple times a year. We'll be going back here in a couple weeks and visiting with him. And I've got some plans to show you some new stuff. And we're always looking for things to be able to find down there. But we put in 8 months of travel. We really wanted to see how this Montana would perform. And we really blew the stops out of it for 8 months. And I'll say that travel ended in what I call that cycle with the RV Super Show, Florida RV Super Show in Tampa, whatever it was, first, second, third week of June or January, whenever it was. But we put thousands and thousands of miles on the unit. And I was looking the other day, it was like, I think I'll talk about this a little bit more. We also spent thousands of dollars in diesel. You just can't imagine how much money we spent in diesel over that 8 months. It was incredible. It was incredible. And Nathan, you just asked, you just said you put the auxiliary tank and in your truck, and it was a game changer. It was for us too. I think if it wouldn't have been for our auxiliary tank, we couldn't have done 8 months just because we couldn't shop for diesel. I mean, we were seeing anywhere from $1 to $1.50 difference in our travel. It was extraordinary. Look at the camera now so people can see you. So.
Okay.
But anyway, there was that. What kind of problems did we have with the Montana? Joan, there were almost nothing, wasn't it?
I can't think of anything.
We had a biggie. The awnings. That was the only biggie we had.
Yes. Yeah.
So in May, we'd come back from Florida. We'd been using it, and we got home and we're going to unload some things, and it was hot as blue blazes. And we have 2 awnings, and I went to roll out both awnings, and neither one would operate. It was just bizarre. Why would 2 awning motors go out? You guys have seen my videos. You know, I've probably got an engineering background. I check with a voltometer. I've got voltage, have voltage. And the odd thing is from the factory, our fuse panel had a weak connection. I think they call them those Wecos or Webos or whatever those little spring-loaded jobs are. And it just wasn't making a good connection. And literally it took 2.5 hours for the RV repair place to figure out what was going on, and it literally moved it to another fuse location, and boom, we were working. That's the only trouble we've had. I mean, I would give our Montana an A+. If you're looking, again, we're not sponsored by Montana or any of that type of stuff. Keystone, none of those folks. We don't. If you're watching, but you know, we're not. We bought this because we had lived. You know, we basically lived in one for a long time, and it was just absolutely. Just not a good experience when we had a lighter weight unit. And this new unit has just absolutely been fantastic. So there's a few questions that's come in. Let me ask some of those. Cheryl, you said you're living your dream. Hopefully you'll be with us hopefully will be for us in a few years too. Okay, great, Cheryl. I hope so too. It is a great experience, a great lifestyle. We started this in Labor Day of 14. And then heavy duty July of 15, and then that was no, that's not right. We started heavy duty that January of 15, doing a lot of heavy travel, and then really pulled it loose that October when we took the kids down to Disney.
Yeah,
took the grandkids down there,
right.
and then boy, we have been going wide open ever since. Just answer a few other questions. Joe, you said auxiliary tank would push us to travel longer days. Nope, retirement is for fun, not for fast. I agree with you. We did not put the auxiliary tank in for fast. We put it in to save money. You're riding down the highway. Yes, we have a TDS card, but a lot of times you can find gas when you pull over, or fuel when you pull over for the night. In a location, and we've seen it $1 and $1.50 a gallon of diesel cheaper. And I know that sounds bizarre, but we have. And you can fill up that 50-gallon tank and another 55-gallon tank and another 36 gallons in the main tank. And it's saved us. I mean, the tank was $500-600 with all the kits and everything else installed, something like about that. And we probably paid for it 2 or 3 times easily. So I agree with you. We want to have fun. We don't want to just be, tiring our fannies out riding around from point A to point B. Dean, you said the Sumo Springs are the best. Thanks, Jerry. If it weren't for your video, I would have never known. Well, it's Sumo Springs are the best kept secret. They're not a sponsor of ours. I contacted them and said, I got a brand new Montana. I don't want to beat it to death. I've seen your engineering video. I want to try them. And they sent me a set. I put them on. I just can't believe it. They're absolutely fantastic. So if you want to take all that bounce out of your camper when you're going down the road, and if you've got a C and that C's wobbling, it'll take all that wobble out of them too. It's absolutely pretty good. Nathan, you answered my question. You answered one of the questions as well. So Cartersville, Georgia, another Georgia folks out here. We've seen $40 to $50 per gallon variation using the Gas Buddy app. We do too. I'll give you an interesting story. When we left, I've been watching it to see if diesel fuel was going to go up one way or the other. And we were going, we had just left from eating our New Way hot dogs. And we looked at the gas station, and remember, I saw it for $1.15 a gallon more than what we could have gotten at, say, a Murphy. And the big thing that we're seeing here in the Southeast, if you've been noticing these, are QTs. If you're seeing some QT stations out there, I'm just absolutely blown away. I call them the mini truck stops. Sometimes you'll see them on the other side of the road from or other side of the exit from a Love's or a Flying J's or something like that. And we're seeing $1 difference in those. It's just absolutely crazy. So we've been taking advantage of that. And that's another good instance. Like if it's one near a campground, those QTs are absolutely incredible. Let me look at this one here. Scotty, you said we absolutely love our 2010 Montana 3150 RL. You pull it with a Dodge Ram, and 12 years of pulling, you finally weighed, discovered your truck is 1,100 pounds over GWV. Oh my goodness, that's kind of scary. It's not the towing as much, it's the stopping. You'll probably agree with that. And Cheryl, you said we were the first channel you started following a few years ago. Thank you so much, and love following you and Joni. And you like our product reviews. Thanks a bunch for that. Is the cell booster still working for you? The cell booster is still working when we use it, but to be real upfront with you, we don't use this as much anymore. If you haven't seen the video where I'm going to pull something up here, bear with me just a second. If you haven't seen the video where we put in the I'm trying to find a video, a picture here to show you something. Bear with me just one second. Here we go. If you haven't seen the video where we put in the cellular router, the first one we put in was one called a MoFi 4500. Excuse me, pollen is full bore here in Middle Georgia. We started off with a cell booster. We've tried 2 or 3 of them. The high boost has worked pretty good. They're a little, I'll use a technical term here, they're a little persnickety to install them. You really have to do some trial and error to make sure they work, especially if you're not in a steel box like an Airstream or inside of a vehicle or something like that. I'm just cautioning you if you're looking at getting where they're using, a high boost, we boost, any of those types of things. That outside antenna placement is critical. If you notice in the video, if you go back and look, either the easiest way to be able to find our content is to go to iLoveRVlife.com, go all the way down to the bottom of the homepage, and you'll see a search. And you can type in a search and you'll see videos and blogs and all that kind of stuff. Super, super easy to find. I think easier than finding it on YouTube. And they all got videos assigned with them. I had to put that antenna on a painter pole and literally walk around because you get what they call an echo. They're a little bit of a pain to install, but once you get it working right, they do work pretty good. But they're not great, and none of them are great, but they do make your cell signal better. So here's what we did. Here's what we did, and let me show you this. I'm going to flip over to a picture here. This is a Cradle Point cellular router. I got a video on this thing. It has been a massive game changer, hadn't it, Joan?
Yeah.
I mean, both for work, you're able to watch your Young and Restless.
Yeah.
That's important. We use a Roku device for that. So all of our entertainment while we're out there. And they're not inexpensive. Now, they've got good, better, best. This is best. And the reason I got best is partly because it's a I don't want to call it a business write-off, but I have to use it within business because I have my company making web designs. So I'm having to work while I'm out on the road, as well as provide the YouTube content and those types of things. This thing has been monumental. I get questions all the time. Well, why didn't you just go with Starlink? Great question. Starlink works good when it works. There's a lot of chatter going on right now. First of all, it's expensive as the dickens. But there's a lot of chatter going on of, I'm getting great connectivity and great throughput today, and tomorrow I'm not. And I know it's not the same for everybody, and it's different depending on where you're at. The problem is probably half the time we're in locations where there's trees over us.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, state parks, Corps of Engineer parks, even some of the private family owned parks we go to, over half of them last year had trees over us.
Yeah.
Nashville had trees. Leisure Acre had trees, but there were several. There were several out there had trees, and we like to do state parks too. And you can't get Starlink to work, and this works all the time. It just works fantastic. I'll show you another part of this where it's at. So if you notice here, I've got one antenna that's on the inside. That's kind of the Wi-Fi antenna, and then you see all that gobbledygook coming out of the back of it, and that's the antenna that I have up on the roof, and that's where I was installing it. So it's about the size of maybe a pizza pan, maybe about the size of a pizza pan. That was right before I, glued it down permanently to the roof. And that thing picks up cellular signals like crazy. It's amazing. I think in the test, I looked at a hot spot and I barely was getting a megabit down. And in the test I did, and then I hook all this up and I'm going to like the 18 megabit down. I can work with 18 megabit. Joan can watch Her Young and Restless on 18 megabit. It's amazing. And then we didn't want to goof up and have all this. I mean, we've got a pretty Montana. We wanted to buy, we call it our New York apartment. We drag behind a truck. We wanted to have something nice. So if you notice right there at the very top of that cabinet, that glass cabinet, you'll see the antenna. That's all the tech that you see. And that was, it took a little while to kind of figure things out and get it designed properly. And I installed it. You can get installers to do it, but that's what it ended up looking like. And it has just been an absolute fantastic service for us. So, I digress a little bit, but that has been a big enhancement for us. One of the few things that we've done to this Montana since we bought it. So it's been absolutely great. But getting back to the Montana, I've loved it. I mean, it's incredibly comfortable.
Yeah. We started out with a king size bed and decided that we didn't need that large bed in the bedroom. So we put a queen size bed in there. We still have, and we have so much walking room now that, and the queen size bed is big enough for the both of us to be comfortable at night.
We do have one complaint though, and it's not us complaining about it.
No, it's the baby kitties. They like to sleep with us at the foot of the bed. So we have to arrange our feet so they are taken care of.
It's funny you bring that up. I was going to talk about that and some of the enhancements we made on it. That is what the king bed, if those of you who have these king beds in your fifth wheel, and you're looking there at the space, there's not enough room for my calf and my knee to get through. As a matter of fact, we used to call it an Olympic event just trying to make the bed. It was awful. Yeah. I mean, we have to pull the bottom out and you just wrestle with it. And then let's see, I think this is what we ended up going to, and I've got a video on this. Let's see if I can get it to it. There it is. So that's what the queen looks like. Now, bear with me. It's kind of camera angle made that other look worse than what it was. But I mean, we've got a good, 2 feet plus on both sides of the bed now. Mm-hmm. It is a little bit smaller, but it's just absolutely a much better experience, and we can kind of get around where we didn't before. That was one of the first modifications I did to the Montana when we bought it. So that was a big deal. And like I said, the kitties they're used to a king bed and they'll sleep at the foot of the bed. And but we manage. But that has been a good one. I'll mention this, and I had not planned on doing this. I'll talk about we've got a sponsor called Brooklyn Bedding, and if you haven't been on a Brooklyn bed, they're a dream.
Yeah, they're very comfortable.
It's incredible. It's as a matter of fact, I mentioned this. It's so comfortable. We bought one for the house, or have one for the house here. They're just amazing. And if you've just kind of held off saying, doggone, they're expensive. If you've been following us in the newsletter, you saw that they had a special deal that they did for us and a couple other YouTubers out there, that they're giving 30% off a mattress. I mean, if it's $1,000 mattress, one of the big expensive ones, that's $300 savings. And if you look at the description of today's video, you'll see that link. But bottom line, it's rvmattress.com/iLoveRVlife, and you'll get 30% off. But anyway, I'll just mention that to you. But that sale goes off tomorrow night at midnight, so it's been running all April. But if you signed up for the newsletter, you get stuff like that, and you can kind of see those bargains when they pop up. We put them out there to kind of give you some ideas. But anyway, that's just been a game buster improvement. Is what we're doing there. Let's see. We got a couple other folks here that's made some other comments. Let's see what we got here. Are we going, Laura, you mentioned, are we going to Birds Branch on Veterans Day for the chili cook-off? No, we're not. We're going 4th of July. We're going to do something a little different this year. We normally go up the last 2 weeks of September. We've done that for a couple years, and we just want to do the 4th up there. And there's going to be a lot of fun stuff happening up there on the 4th. So we're going to do that this year. Mark, you mentioned you looked at Starlink and you've tested where you've camped at, and so far it wouldn't have worked if we would have had it. Yep, that's the problem with Starlink. It's if it's not a clear sky, and I mean a clear sky, it's not going to work. Mark, I think I answered your question. Are we happy with the Brooklyn bedding mattress? They're just incredible. I just can't stress it enough. They're just absolutely amazing. How did you decide on which one to purchase? They got a chat line that you go to if you're talking about the mattress, which one to purchase. They got a chat line, and we asked them they ask us some questions. We asked back. We went with the Signature series. And the reason we went with that is it's got these, not like a metal coil. It's like I don't know, 900 of these coils that are built inside there. And then it's got several levels of different type of foam. And we wanted one that didn't suck the heat out of your body. You got to be careful with some of these things, or you get some of these others out there that do the opposite, and they're cold. Or they're not cold, that they're too hot, and they make you sweaty when you sleep. And you do not have that with these. It's a great sleep.
It is.
And Joan has back issues. We've never talked about this a whole lot. Joan was in a horrendous car accident, January the 2nd of 1985. Maybe we'll tell you that story some point in time. I'll have to do it with a box of Kleenex because I cry every time I talk about it. But we won't go into a lot of details. But the bottom line is it left her with a lot of back problems, and this makes your back.
It's very substantial, and
you don't get kinks in it. It's very supportive.
Absolutely.
So if you have back issues, this thing is just absolutely amazing. But next trip, somebody's asking, next trip, Florida. We're going to be going to Florida to see our son, and then we got some fun stuff that's going to be going on down there. So last thing I'll talk about on the Montana, then I want to talk a little bit about travel. I'm looking to see where we're at time-wise. I'm going to try to be careful with your Saturday time, not take you away from dinner. The only adjustment that we had with the Montana was going from pulling a little less than 14,000 pounds to pulling 20,000 pounds. Wow, is it different? Now, we went from 40 feet to 42 feet. I don't notice that. And backing up, it's not that big of a deal. Not that big of a deal at all. As a matter of fact, when we come home, we have to jackknife to get into our property. And that jackknife is, and think about this, I'm jackknifing into a neighborhood with a driveway with 42 feet, and it's a breeze. I don't have any trouble whatsoever. Joan and I've got a pretty good system worked down. We don't call each other names anymore.
No, we turned the radio off for that.
but the biggest thing is we were in some very, very high elevations this year, way up in the Tennessee mountains, North Carolina mountains. I mean, we spent a lot of time in the North Carolina mountains this year, and that thing will push you down a mountain, let me tell you. And we've got a dually F350. Brakes didn't heat up. We were able to manage going down, but wow, it's a big difference. So that's the only thing I noticed. It's not a negative, but I did have to change the way I drive a lot. So it's okay. Tim, you're late, but it's okay. We still have a lot to talk about. Dean, you said, do you still have the portable generator that you got from Harbor Freight? We didn't get it from Harbor Freight. We got it from Northern Tool. And I think it's got a similar engine but it's a 4,500 watt surge, 3,500 watt total capacity. Love it. Love it. It's just absolutely been a great addition to our purchase. Okay, so that's that. Let's talk about travel. Let's talk about travel a little bit. You might have some questions about travel, and then we'll get into just some question and answer here to kind of finish up the video. Well, we mentioned we spent 8 months traveling on the road this year. Boy, we ran into some challenges. It's getting hard to find space that is affordable. It's we are, first of all, I'll give you for instance, we were looking down in the Daytona, Ormond Beach, New Smyrna area. Mentioned our son moved down there. We had a dickens of a time finding a place down there that, number one, was affordable. We didn't want something at the racetrack because of noise. There's some event going on down there every week. And then finding one that just wasn't a dump. It was a challenge. And it was a big challenge. We have found one that we're using. It's okay. I call it a destination site. Most of our campgrounds are destination sites.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes we find pretty stuff and try to find pretty stuff, but you notice we show more about the area than we do with a campground. We'll always show a campground if it's something new that we're going to. But boy, the prices have gone through the roof. I mean, we're seeing state campgrounds now running close to $50 a night. We're seeing private campgrounds, I'll call them family-owned campgrounds, running in the high 50s to low 60s a night. One of the new trends that's going on right now, we call it the resort. These resorts, it's popped all over, the beach, North Carolina mountains. I just noticed a bunch that just opened up in Texas. One just opened up in Alabama. We saw one there. A bunch that just opened up like Colorado. We get these, emails and all this stuff all the time. And the campgrounds, your cheap one, the basic is $90, and these things run up to $130, $140 a night. Now, okay, some of you who are watching, I know we're going to go on a vacation for a week, and we want to stay in a super nice place. I got it, you've been waiting on doing this all year long, and that $100 a night doesn't hurt as bad as somebody who is either full timing or what we call long timing. And it's becoming hard. And then the second thing is finding space. We've got some that we have one when we tried to go to Huntington Beach and get the week or the 2 weeks that we wanted. It took us 3 years. It took us 3 years to get into that place. Loved it. But we had to kind of fit it into our schedule. But we're booking 6 months, 9 months, and 12 months out now because, again, we're putting videos together, and I have to do research of an area to be able to find things to be able to share and things that we want to do, and then we share that experience with you. And to be able to do that, we're having to book that far ahead. It's crazy. It's crazy on what's going on. And then again, I mentioned fuel cost. Fuel cost for us last year was our single largest expense in travel. We spent, prices started at $5, went down to $4, and then we're seeing right now, and depending on where you're at, mid threes right now, mid $3, $3.30, $3.40, $3.50, depending on where you're at. And it's been a challenge. We've had to adjust. So you're not going to see us. We had planned on going out west this year. Bottom line is we can't fit it in the budget. It would cost us we estimated probably somewhere between $8,000 and $9,000 just in, we were going to do a long trip. Just in fuel cost. It was just because once you get out west, holy cow, does it get expensive. So I don't know when we're going to get out west. A lot of people ask us that all the time, and it's just a challenge. So I don't know about you, if you're having similar challenges with travel. I'm going to look here at just a couple things.
And we enjoy going up the East Coast. There's a lot to see up the East Coast and, a few states into the United States. And we're having a lot of fun doing that. Our goal is to make it to Maine.
Yeah, we'd like to do Maine. And that's something else. A lot of people go, why haven't you gone out west yet? I guess for we who are providing YouTube content for you to enjoy, and we love sharing it. is that we're seeing there's this group that stays out west, and there's a group that goes down to Mexico. And there's some folks that go coast to coast, coast to coast, that are full timers, that are permanent full time YouTube content providers. And we just kind of made a decision we were going to highlight more of the East Coast than we do the West Coast. Not that, I traveled corporately out there for 20 something years, but we'll continue to it's going to be a more heavy emphasis on the East Coast than it is the West Coast. And we'll get out there one day.
We've gone out as far as Oklahoma and
Texas, yeah.
And there's some beautiful things
we enjoyed it
out there. But there's a lot to see on the East Coast as well.
Yeah, and I think that's an area that is just kind of underutilized. So we'll do that. And the other thing has been looking for tools to be able to use. We recently found RV Life. I think it used to be called Trip Wizard, RV Life Pro. And we're testing that right now. We've been testing it for a couple of months. Like some aspects of it a lot. I haven't decided to do a video on it yet. If you are interested in seeing that and like to see it from a user's perspective, would you just let me know? I'm kind of debating. I'm flipping a coin whether to create a video on that one or not. So it's RV Life, and then they have an RV Life Pro. It's a pay-in product. It does have some really, really nice things. But I'm just debating. I'm just debating right now on where to do it. And if you'd like to see it, I'd be glad to share it with you. A few questions have come in. Joe S., you said you're right. Prices are going up. Pays to plan ahead and pay ahead. Yes, it does. Absolutely. Would 1,000 trails help your cost? We had 1,000 trails last year. Oh, I hate to admit this. This is going to hurt. You're going to think I've lost my mind. We didn't use it a single time. Is that crazy or what? The areas that we went to that had 1,000 trails, and we did the searches on them and the lookup, it's hit or miss. You've got like Orlando. Orlando 1,000 trails is an incredible place to go. And we don't do negative here. I'm not going to mention some others that are bad, but we looked at some others, and I just wouldn't stay there. So 1,000 trails are hit or miss. There's some really, really nice ones out there, and there's some that are okay, and then there's some that's not okay. So we had 1,000 trails for a year and never used the darn thing. I hate to even admit that to you. So that was one question. We traveled, Joe, you said you traveled January, February, March. Your average cost for food, fuel, and touristy stuff was $4,500. And most of your campsites, we paid ahead of time. Oh, here's what we've ended up doing, and darn it, we just don't go out to eat as much. Going out to eat has gotten incredibly expensive. So we cook. I don't know. Maybe we start. I love cooking in the RV. We cook. Jen and I are both cooks, and we both cook a lot. And so we've ended up doing that. And I'm not just talking about grills. I mean, we cook.
We do.
Yeah. I mean,
we cook homemade, home cooked things that we enjoy eating, and it's fun to do. And then we get to sit down in front of the TV. And
Joan's your traditional Southern cook, so gravy on everything, and it's yummy, and it's wonderful. And then I explore into some other areas. I'm the little bit more experimental person. So
it's just our Oriental, Italian. Of course, I do Italian too, but it's Mexican. So.
And so that's the bottom line. We just don't get to go out and eat as much as we wanted to. And certain places are expensive. Holy cow! We're going to Nashville. We're going back to Nashville this year. We went last year. Yeah, we did. We went last year, and we're going to go a little bit different time this year. Hopefully, we have some better weather and we can enjoy downtown a little bit more. We'll be showing you some more of that a little bit as well. Joe, you said you live in Southwest Florida, and Ian came very close to your house, watched your slide topper come unravel. I want to tell you, we were just down there, down on the beach. We went out with Joel, and we drove down the beach. It's incredible what that hurricane did down there. I tip my hat to the people of, Ormond, Flagler, Ormond, Daytona Beach Shores, which got the brunt of it. The Ponce Inlet, New Smyrna, that seemed like that was the holy cow, we're getting it bad. And they've done a great job bringing that back to life so that tourists can enjoy the area. But the people that live down there on the beach, wow, they got the dickens knocked out of them. It's awful. It's awful. It's really, really bad. What about Cooperstown, New York Baseball Hall of Fame? Oh my gosh, I guarantee you, when we go to Maine, that is somehow we're going to get there. I don't know how, but that's going to definitely be a spot. You can see my boys up here. Love them. You're going to do a once in a lifetime trip. Dean Stafford, you're going to Alaska. And fuel's going to be a 30-year cost. You bet it is. I hope you got some way to be able to get some reserves before you go up there. And had you known, you'd have gone when you're younger. I've been to Alaska a couple times, not in the RV. Love it. Joan and I did for our 25th anniversary. We did one of those inland cruises. It's incredible, wasn't it? Did all the fjord stuff. Oh my gosh. And then me and some buddies went up and fished up in the bush about 100 miles north of Anchorage. Did that one time, and I'm Alaska bit. I mean, I love it. I love it. We have talked about doing it. We won't do it in the fifth wheel. I'm not sure what we would do it in. I hope that opportunity comes up. It would be a trip of a lifetime. I think it'd take us about 4 months, what we plotted out, but it would be great. A few more questions here, and then I'm going to give you a chance. You vote for Cookie Show, Laura? All right, we might do that. And Joe, you said you cook mostly at home. And we just look for the bargains for stuff like that. Okay, I think I've run my mouth a little bit. What about questions? I've been trying to answer some questions. I want to be good with my time. We've been at this probably about 40 minutes now. We'll take 5 or 10 minutes maybe if for anybody that's still hanging out. Any questions that you would like to ask us? I will tell you we've got May travel, June travel, July travel, August travel, September, and all of October travel.
We do not travel in November and December.
Yeah,
we are at home.
We do family time December, November, December. So we don't do that. And then we're going to really drop back and think about what we want to do next year. And I don't know. I'm not even just trying to think forward about. Oh, I forgot to mention this. You're going to love. Oh my gosh, you're going to love this. In September, we are going to do a big week-long farm tour. Not a farm, a bunch of farms. I've got them all mapped out. This is going to be incredible. It's probably going to be a several-week series just because of all the editing I've got to do. And it is going to be a blast. The first farm we're going to do, this is going to be cool. In June, we're going to do an entry to that first farm, and it's going to be one like you've never seen before. It's going to be the craziest farm you've ever been to. And then we're going to do a bunch of others, and that is going to be a blast.
Yes. We're looking forward to that.
Yeah, we're going to tour the ABAC, the Abraham Baldwin museum that's on. You'll see it in Tifton when you go down to I-75. We're going to go over there and do that museum. And an interesting piece here, I see some questions have come in. Share something with you. I was in telecom for 30-something years, and I donated a very antique piece. I'm going to let you wait and see it in the video, to a phone company that had a museum, and that phone company donated their entire collection to ABAC, Abraham Baldwin College, there in Tifton. And that is part of their museum now, 500 pieces of antique phones. And I've got a really, really, really unique piece that I gave them. And my piece is in that part with our name on it, and that we donated it and stuff like that. It's super, super cool. You'll see it in the video sometime late September. And I don't know if this will run into October, just from a production schedule standpoint. This is going to be a blast. We're going to have so much fun. If you love farm tours, this is going to be great. Okay, here we go. Joe, WP Franklin Army Corps Engineers, $30 a night in Fort Myers. Awesome. And I'll be your Cajun cook. Oh, twist my arm. I didn't mention that. We love Corps of Engineer parks. We're finding them for, sub 30. and we have a senior pass now, and you can get them for 50% off. So with that senior pass, we've stayed, like we did East Point, which is down on the Georgia-Florida line. And I think we paid $11 or $12 a night for a 14-night stay there. It's amazing. Oh my gosh, on Lake Seminole, it's crazy. So we're going to be doing more stuff like that, I think, going forward. And I think that will be great. Hey, Jerry, thanks for the East Bank Campground video. I just saw this. That was from Tim. Leaving Birmingham, Alabama, headed to St. Augustine, Anastasia State Park, beautiful park. And you're going to stop for a stay at East Bank. Oh my gosh, the sunsets are, oh, I mean, they're biblical. They're crazy. Is the only way, Cheryl, you said, is the only time the kids and grandkids visit is when they are camping as well. We love for the family to join us. Same here. From time to time, we have our baby daughter, her husband, and the 3 grandkids, and we go up into North Carolina. There's a spot that they'd like to go. We went with them last year. If you saw that July video, we had them with us, or we were with them, and we love camping with them. I don't think it's going to work out for us this year. We're not sure. We're still debating on a possible trip, but I'm not sure where, and I hope it happens. But with 3 kids, all in sports and travel baseball, it's hard to be able to do it. Okay, Joe, you asked this question again. Let me see if I can help you. Any resource for adding an outlet to our RV? Hubs is an avid DIYer, quite capable. It would be next to our fuse panel under the bunk. Answer is yes. You saw where I put earlier, you saw the cellular router, and inside that cabinet, I put an outlet. Typically, what you can do, and if your husband's watching, you can find another outlet somewhere close to where you want to put this that you can do what they call a piggyback into. And here's what I do. I take the old RV outlet out that I'm going to connect to, and I put a standard style plastic junction box, what they call a make-ready box. You can find those in the Lowe's and the Home Depots, a make-ready box. They've got the little ears that you can put in there. You may have to do some modification to get it into the wall, and then you run your wire from that location to where you want this new outlet at. Be careful if you're going to have slide outs involved. You might have some contortion activity that you're going to have to do. You may have to use something like a fish tape to be able to run it. But typically you can piggyback off of one outlet. I mean, let's face it, you can't put a hair dryer in one outlet and, run a 1500 watt, space heater in the other. You're going to blow the breaker. But yeah, you can do it. I've done it multiple times. In the Gateway, I added 2 outlets there, and already in this Montana, I've added 1 outlet there. And then in the Gateway, I changed all the outlets out to USB, the joint. I've got a video on that, the plug in the USB on them. It's really easy to do, but we do it all the time, Joe. No problem whatsoever. You are going to do the Highway 37 tour and the Highway 41 tour. It is great. Tony, you're going to have to give me some more info. I'm not sure what that is. When you get a chance, go to Marion, North Carolina. We were there. A couple of years ago. Love Marion. It's one of our. It's a very nice place. We love Western North Carolina. We were in Murphy. Had a great time there. Maybe we'll get back to Marion here, or as my Hill folks used to say, Marion. But anyway, we love Marion up there. All right. I'm not seeing any more questions coming in. Anybody else have a question before we call it quits? I will ask you this. We haven't done a live video in about a year. Don't know if these are entertaining or informative. If you would like to see more live videos in the future, it'd be my pleasure. We can do them in the camper. We don't have to do them here. I think this is the first time we've done one in the home office. We normally do them in the camper or the fifth wheel. We can do that. But we'd be glad to do some more in the future. Would love to do that. Tony, you said those are the farm tours in South Georgia. They are going to be in South Georgia, not typically tours given by the farms. This is going to be something we're going to produce and create on our own. and we'll see how it happens. We tried a couple of them. I think it was spring of last year. We
Yes.
went to Dickey's Farms and got a great response on that. And then we went to Lane Farms. These are peach and strawberries and things like that. We're going to do some more things that are going to be a little bit different than that. I think that will be fun. Might even have some of that. I think there might be some alcohol involved, spirits. There's one really cool place that we're going to go to that is doing some interesting distilling associated with a farm. I think that's going to be fun too. So I think that'll be a good time. Okay, let's see. I want to get the rest of these. I don't want to miss it. Hi guys, just getting on. I learned so much from your videos. Thank you so much. Thanks for the live chat. Great seeing you down at the Tampa show, Susan. It was an absolutely joy seeing what we had. Maybe 150 people show up at the meetup. It was a dream come true. It was so much fun. Kevin just got back from St. Glen Mary, Florida. Beautiful Oak RV resort, really nice. Yeah, these resorts are just incredible. Okay, Susan, I'll do an RV Life Pro. I'll do that. Give me weeks. It might be into the summer before I get a chance to get it. Would you ever downsize to continue RV living?
Yeah.
Full time in the RV, Joan?
Yeah.
We talk about this all the time. The biggest issue was the COVID scare. We really liked having a place that we could escape back to that we knew had walls and locked doors that were a little bit different, and that we wouldn't, there were people that were getting run out of their campgrounds, and then they're scrambling to try to find places, and people are running out of campground space. We talk about full time, but maybe have something in our back pocket that we could eventually move back to. This conversation is coming up at least once a week now. I'm not saying it's going to happen.
Well, as long as we can travel and we're able to travel and see other things, we're going to continue to do that.
And we don't know how many more years we can do this. I mean, we're getting older, and we're both very, very healthy. Stuff happens when you get older. I mean, I'm not, my folks lived up into their 90s. Jones lived up into the mid 80s. I still see travel for a long time. But yeah, we might consider that at some point in time. Okay, a few more questions here. Do the olive oil farm tour. That's going to be one of them.
Okay.
Absolutely. That's already on the list. More live chats. Laura will do it. Mayberry and Mount Airy was great. Joe, thanks for the referral. Is incredible. Loved it. It was so much fun. Okay. We're going to call it quits. Thank you so much for all of you who have stuck with us. If you haven't ever subscribed, do me a favor, just hit that button and give us some thumbs up. It helps other people find us. We do this for fun. We do product reviews to help you. If everybody gets tired of seeing them and don't want to ever see them again, fine, I'll stop. But it just won't be any content in between the travel. We kind of bulk that up when we're not on the road. You'll see product reviews. We get back out on the road. We do our traveling tours. We just let that stuff just stack up.
Yeah.
And then I'll do those for a couple of weeks, and then we'll go back out on the road again and we show travel again. But we do that just because we want to find products that help you in your travel. The e-bikes is a new thing that we just started doing, and they've been a lot of fun. We just got one in, and guess what? The darn thing won't even turn on. So I don't know if you'll ever see that one or not. But so we don't do negative reviews. So if it doesn't work, you'll never see it. But we'll continue to do those if you want to see them. If you don't want to see them, and we get enough negative folks that just say, don't do them anymore, I'll stop. It doesn't matter. We just love being able to serve the RV community. We love RV Life, and we love you guys. We just have so much fun doing this. Okay. Tiny homes. Last question. Go Braves, go Dogs. You got it, Tim. Last thing that came in. How do you feel about tiny homes on wheels?
For two people, they're okay.
I think tiny homes on wheels are more for a plant and a destination.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
The tiny homes that you see, the ones that the people build. I'm concerned about roadworthiness. That's my only concern. Do I have any experience with them? I don't have a lick. But they're built to different standards, and I think they're built more to be fixed. Now, I've seen what people have done with making truck campers and things like that. And I think that's built. If you watch, the channel just slips my mind right now. But there's a couple of people that have built these truck campers. They're incredible. Those are amazing. These earth roamers are amazing. But I don't know. I just don't know that I'd want to tow. They're heavy.
Yeah.
And I just don't know about the roadworthiness. Okay, we're going to call it quits. Thank you so much for attending. You guys are grand, and you support us so well, and we get such wonderful comments. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and look forward to sharing you some travels here in the very, very near future. Y'all have a good one. Love you guys. Take care.
What was the last one that came in?